Hi, I'm Beth Kephart, and I'm here because Susan Campbell Bartoletti invited me to talk to you about subtext in dialogue. Her email came in about a week ago, and of course I laughed when I read it because I spent much of my writing career not writing dialogue. In fact, explicitly avoiding it by writing nonfiction in which I remembered or had written down what the people had actually said, or history, or poetry, or fable, a lot of different genre until I started to write young adult fiction, and I just finished my eighth about 2 hours ago, a book that takes place on either side of the Berlin Wall in 1983 that I'm very excited about. Through these many books and many years and just reading a lot and reviewing a lot and blogging about the books that I love, I've really studied dialogue. When something's hard for you, you need to pay a lot of attention to it. Dialogue is the obvious thing in some ways. You know, it moves plot forward. It's a dance on the page. It changes the rhythm. But what dialogue really does is show you how your characters, or how the characters are interacting with the world. We know who the characters are, through various other techniques. But when we see them talking to someone else, we know how they present themselves to the world. Are they snarky? Are they withholding? Are they envious? Are they manipulative? Are they constantly saying one thing and meaning another? Are they liars? All of this stuff gets revealed masterfully and beautifully in good dialogue. And when I find good dialogue in a book, I celebrate it. It makes me very happy. I'm going to read to you from what was my, my sixth young adult novel, You Are My Only, which came out in October. And the setup, it's early in the book. This is a book in the character that I'm going to introduce to you has just, she's young and her baby has just been stolen from her. She's out in the night looking for the child. She's desperate, she's scared. And a man named Arlen, who likes to watch the trains go by at night, happens to be at the tracks when he sees her walking down them in the middle of the night. He swoops in, saves her. She doesn't know who he is. And they then have this conversation in the middle of the dark night. You still feel a chill, he asks. Sun is doing its job. You still working on your plan? I don't have a plan. Then we need you home now, soon as can be. Arlen, I told you, I said it already. I'm not going home without my baby. Police will come knocking. And what will they do when they find you're gone? What will they think? What about your husband? They'll put you down on some suspects list, maybe. Jigger up some kind of motive. Mother on the lamb, they'll say. If you don't have a plan, you risk suspicion. I would not hurt baby. I know, but the police don't. You know about police, Arlen? Maybe once or twice. What do you mean? He doesn't answer for a minute longer. His hold grows tight on me and anxious. Doesn't matter, he says at last, and I don't come back at him with questions because he still smells like chicken bones and garlic, still takes my weight like a Roman column. I don't mind. I decide it right now, whatever he's done. Arlen's to be trusted. Arlen? What? What do you think they took my baby? Can't figure it. Who would have done it? Jealousy, he says, or greed. I said who, Arlen? So much is going on there, right? You're learning about what the story is. You're learning who these people are, and you're seeing how Emmy makes a decision about who can be trusted and who can not be trusted on the very day that her baby has been stolen. A man is telling her that he knows a little bit about something about the police. She's still asking him the deep moral questions. He's trying to answer her with all honesty. And what is revealed? They don't have a lot of education. They're both a little lost. One is desperate and one hopes to save the woman who's desperate. And we very early on get a sense for what their relationship will be. Or I hope that's the case. That's what I was trying to do. Now, Small Damages. This book comes out July 19th, 2012. Takes place in southern Spain, a world I visited quite a bit. We have Kenzie. She is there because she's 18 and she's pregnant, and her mother doesn't want to have anything to do with her. And so she's been sent to a cortijo, and an old cook named Estella is watching her and teaching her to cook. And Estella has her own long history with the Spanish Civil War. which gets played out over the course of this story. Here I'm trying to show you how both a relationship evolves and how I think we can layer in some information into dialogue so that it doesn't feel like a big dump elsewhere in the book. They're in the kitchen, and Kenzie says to Stella, "How can you stand that onion?" She looks at me like she can't decide whether I deserve an answer to my question. She walks away down the hall. I hear her pacing. When she comes back, she stands in the threshold and stares. "I learned onions in Madrid," she finally says. I find a knife in a place beside her at the cutting board. She hands me a tomato. I sink the knife in. "Onions in Madrid," I repeat. "Is there more to this story?" "There's always more to a story, Kenzie." So don't leave here again. Don't make me worry." I look at her and I smile, and this time I mean it. "Tell me about Madrid," I say. "Tell me something so I don't go crazy." "All right," she says, fixing the knife in my hand, rinsing another tomato, showing me how the knife goes in and comes out clean, no splatter, no bruising. "It was my parents' bar. They made tapas for the people. The socialists, anarchists, liberals, peasants, Basques, Catalans, Republicans. My mama and papa fed them all. It was 1931. There was no war yet." "Okay," I say. "Tell me more." "I had a brother. He was 6 and I was 10. "You had a brother?" "That's how I met Louise." I look at her because I'm completely confused. She hands me 2 more tomatoes. I rinse them off. I sink the blade. I wait, but it seems that's the end of her story. "And?" I ask, just to make sure. "And what?" "How did you meet Louise?" I won't go on, but she then describes this meeting of a man who is very important to the story and whose mystery Kenzie has not been able until this moment to decode. Here, dialogue is very much also about what's going on at the same time. You know, they're cooking together, they're side by side. Often I find you cannot have characters standing there looking at each other talking. There has to be parallel activity. There has to be the road they're looking at as they drive by, the walk they're taking, the things in this case that they're cooking. I feel with dialogue, have to make sure that dialogue never feels isolated, that it always feels like it's part of the greater context, not just the context of the narrative and the plot, but of the very specific scene that is being written at the time. Because when you give your characters things to do while they're talking, what they say will change. It will be more revealing. I'm looking at this little clock and it says 7:45, so I'm going to stop. I'm 45 seconds past my limit. But thank you. Enjoy the wonderful Susan Campbell Bartoletti, and best of luck with your work and your stories.